All right, guys, so lots of really exciting stuff going on. I keep forgetting what I've posted about on Instagram and what I've filmed here for YouTube. So to fill everybody in, I've sold my 1981 Euro spec right-hand drive E23. This is a Mark 1 shark nose car. One of my first vlogs actually talk about this car a little bit more in detail. But the Consul General of Turkey had ordered this car new in England in 1981. He ordered it in Cypress Green, fully optioned, but in a 5-speed manual. So it's a fully optioned 7 Series in a manual, which in my opinion is pretty cool because it's got the leather interior, the headlight wiper washer system, the C-pillar study lights, sunroof and AC in a manual, which is kind of cool. I've had this car for about 5 years now, 4 years I think. And it's been featured in Performance BMW magazine. Fast Car magazine has featured it. It's really been quite a fun journey with this car. I owned a US spec E23 back a few years ago. It was a facelift car, so it wasn't a shark nose. It was an automatic. It was a fun car, but this was really just the one that I really wanted. You know, a Euro spec, the Euro bumpers, Euro lights, fully optioned in a manual. I sourced the BBS kit. The Rennell AC Schnitzers. I've got a lot of work into this car, so I've sold it. And the same guy who bought my Lada is buying this car. And rather than transport it out to California, I have decided to drive it. This is probably one of my favorite cars I've owned, and I really like driving it. And I've kind of always said I'd love to drive it coast to coast. So my friend Corey and my friend Keiron are going to make the drive to California with me. And Corey lives here in New Hampshire. Keiron lives in LA. And so Keiron's going to fly one way here and make the drive out basically home with us. Keiron shot this car for Speedhunters last fall. He has since run the Lada and my Corvair in Speedhunters over the last few months, which he shot last fall as well. But he shot this for Speedhunters and they haven't run it yet. So basically he's going to tag along on this trip to document this trip as a good tie-in for the story for this 7 Series, since it's the end of my ownership with the car, but we're going to do a cross-country drive with it. Originally, the plan was to get to LA, spend a couple days, and then fly back home one way. I have since found basically one of my bucket list / dream cars in Seattle. So I've purchased that, and now the plan is to fly to Seattle from LA once we deliver the 7 Series. Prep that new car in Seattle and drive it back across America home to New Hampshire. I've kind of been posting a lot about this on Instagram, so this is all kind of regurgitating this information for me. But for anyone that's watching this that doesn't follow me on Instagram, is kind of being filled in as to what we're doing now. I haven't given away what the car in Seattle is. It's something I've wanted for a long time. A few of my really good friends have guessed it correctly. But I am really, really excited about this. I've wanted one forever. I'm a little anxious. We're going to be driving it over 3,000 miles home, and I haven't seen the car in person yet. So the seller's been really good about giving me a lot of videos and a lot of information about the car. So we're going to do tires and belts and fluid checks and changes and stuff. You know, your basic stuff, you know, to prep it as best we can before the drive. My friends Mike Cashman and Zach DePiero from the Northeast here are going to be meeting us in Seattle as well. So they're booking one-way flights out. Keiron's going to stay in LA. Corey's going to Seattle with me. Mike and Zach are meeting up with us in Seattle. We're going to hang out in Seattle for a couple days, prep the car, and then head back east towards New Hampshire. On the way out in the 7 Series, we're going to be going on a southern route out to California. And then from Seattle home, we're going to be going a northern route home. So I've decided to incorporate a series of Governor's Club pop-up meets across the country throughout our drive out and our drive back. I'm making exclusive leather keyrings for this trip. So I've made these leather keyrings with the Governor's Club logo on one side and our 2019 Tour Across America on the other side. So these keyrings are only going to be available at our TGC meets or anywhere we may be on our drive out and our drive back. I'm not going to put them on the web store or have them available anywhere online. I'm probably going to make around 200 of them, and once they're gone, they're gone. We are doing t-shirts as well that I'm really excited about. The t-shirts we'll probably have available once we get back as well. I don't do enough soft goods with the Governor's Club, so I may do another run of these shirts signifying our trip across America, available to anyone else once we get back as well. So the first pop-up meet that we have planned is going to be in Fredericksburg, Virginia, Thursday, September 5th. We have an address, we have a date and time set up, so I'll put the address in the description in this video, and if you follow me on Instagram, I'll put that below as well. We're going to post all the information as to where all of the pop-up meets are going to be across the country in the south and back across the country in the north. So Fredericksburg, Virginia, Thursday, September 5th. The next night, Friday the 6th, is going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. We have yet to figure out a venue there. But we're really not trying to make them huge meets, basically just meeting up with friends in those areas and get dinner, hang out. We're going to have merchandise available. So lots of stuff in the works. We're still refining everything, what dates and times and venues we're going to be at on our ways out and back. But follow me on Instagram, follow the Governors Club on Instagram for more up-to-date information as to where we're going to be and when. So I haven't done a tail whip in probably a year, maybe 2 years. I don't even know. That's how long it's been. It's been a long time. So kind of psyched myself up into just doing a fly-out tail whip, which is like not even a warm-up trick from 10 years ago. It's been a long time. I'm feeling some weird anxiety about it for some reason. But we're going to see how many tries it takes. We're going to try to do it first go and we're done. So we'll see how it goes. So it was gross, but I guess it's technically first try, so. Yo! Heck yeah. I think this afternoon I'm going to get the new tires mounted up on the E23 stock wheels. Those came in just before I left for Wolfscart for Burlington, Vermont, and the CV joint boots just came in about an hour ago. I may not get to getting the E23 on the lift and getting the axles out today, but I'm probably going to mount up the tires. That way those wheels can go on the car sooner than later, and I can get the AC Schnitzers in the car and figure out what we're going to have for space. Because basically, Keiron in LA hasn't booked a flight yet because I'm not sure what kind of space we're going to have in the car with the AC Schnitzers. I've got a friend in Northern California who is interested in some Euro E23 parts I have. A bumper, a Racing Dynamics front splitter, a wing, a factory Euro valance, and a few other bits. And he's trying to ship an E23 roof rack out to me so we can drive cross country with all that stuff on the roof and probably a few wheels too. But I'm not trying to go too crazy. I don't think I'm mostly focusing on trying to make sure the car will make it to California, which I think it will. But I got to get the Schnitzers at least in the car to see what kind of space we're going to have to let Keiron know if he can book a flight out here from LA and drive out to Los Angeles with us. It'll be fun to have him along on the trip with Corey and I, but it'll also be awesome to have somebody taking legitimate photos of the trip as well. So we'll finish the coffee and we'll get in the shop. These are just a cheap 195/70 14 that I picked up for the drive out to California. And these are just the inner CV joint boots. They come with a flange. So I'm gonna put these on. Now that the E23 is on air suspension, when it airs up and down, it's got a lot more range of motion now in that boot. And I don't know how old those axles are. I mean, they very well could be the original axles, so the boots are pretty old. And when I air out, it stretches the boot quite a bit when the axle goes up away from the differential, and it split the boot on each side. And now it's been flinging grease for a little bit now. I want to make sure there's plenty of grease in there and they're not going dry on the drive cross country. So I live in the house that I grew up in. I rent it out off my parents, who built a new house up the street, I don't know, about 15, 16 years ago. Although I don't like the New Hampshire winters, nor have I really ever since I was a kid, I really do enjoy living here through the spring, summer, and autumn for the seasons, but I also like living close to my family, naturally, as most people do. But my father owned an automotive business. He built a garage, a shop that he worked out of, in the backyard of this house. So although it's not my shop, it's still my father's hobby shop now that he's basically retired, if you want to call it that. So having his shop in the backyard has been such a blessing. I've been able to work out of that shop. We work on cars together. My Corvair, the 700, my 52 Chevy cab over, some of the more involved projects fabrication wise we build together, and it's really been such a blessing to be able to work beside him on some projects that I'm excited about. He's kind of a GM muscle car guy, and it's kind of cool that he's gotten a little interested in some of the weird quirky stuff that I like. Being back in New Hampshire, having lived in other places, over the years, especially when I was riding BMX full time, I really enjoy being back here because we can work on cars together. And I learn a lot too from him. Everything that I know, I've acquired from either doing it myself or learning it from him. So being able to work out of his shop is really something I cherish. The dream was always to live somewhere warm year round. At the time, I thought it would have been Southern California because I spent a lot of the winter months out there when I was riding. I've kind of been thinking more about Virginia, mid-East Coast somewhere, a little warmer than here, but still driving distance to home and family, but also driving distance to Florida in the winter months. But for now, I really like being here. New Hampshire's beautiful. Even in the winter, it carries its own undeniable beauty, I suppose. But when you're stuck in it for 6 months out of the year, it seems like it gets pretty taxing. Before I mount the new tires up, I'm just going to give these factory wheels a cleaning that they desperately need. My friends at Clean Freaks in Northern Ireland have been helping me out for a few years now, and this is a perfect opportunity to use their wheel cleaner. Wheels are cleaned up, tires are mounted and balanced, center caps cleaned up as best they could. The wheels cleaned up better than I thought they were going to, but they've lived a hard life, that's for sure. Corey and I are making a morning run around the Londonderry, New Hampshire skate park. And basically the plan today is to head back up to my place. I stayed down at Corey's last night because Taco Tuesdays. And there's a taco joint near his house that a bunch of friends hang out at Tuesday nights. So the plan is today is to get back up to my place and tinker on the 7 Series. I got new tires mounted. As you guys see, this is all probably going to be in the same vlog. I think we might take the axles out today and get the new inner CV joint boots on. We might film a few things here at the skate park. It's starting to cloud in, but we might get a few things filmed here before the rain comes in. the hop out of the manual, if you commit and your front end's going down, you're toothpick grinding to OTB to crab walk to scorpion. Special meter. I've got this thing I do now where, I sit down after a trick now. I've noticed when we vlog this or whenever we film like Instagram clips, I pull a trick and I immediately sit down. And I remember watching old timers ride, and I always thought it was funny that they sat down as soon as the trick was over, like on the bike. I'm like, oh, they can't even stand up anymore. I'm that old man now, sitting down. I know why you're coming up here on the ramp. It's important you stay hydrated when you're at the skate park. I wish someone was filming your face on that one. Oh. Good session?
Absolutely.
We just got done riding in the Londonderry Park, but we got some clips. It was good. Got a good sweat going.
Yep.
It's humid.
Sure.
Now we're gonna get some beverages and head back up to my place and probably tackle getting the axles out of the E23 and getting the boots replaced probably. Not sure yet, we'll see how.
Yeah, we should just get it done.
We're gonna take the axles out of the 7 Series and get the boots done. So more when we get back to the shop. So we're back to my father's shop. Got the 7 Series up on the lift. We're gonna get the axles out and replace the inner CV joint boots. So I'm running the Airlift 3H system in this car, and this is Airlift's sleeve bag builder kit, universal kit. So we've had to weld the eyelet of the rear shock to the strut assembly now, and as you can see I raised the lower mounts to get a little bit more lift out of the car. Height sensor is mounted right to the back, and the rear sensor setup was really easy in this car. Didn't really have to work for space or fight for any space for the sensor arm. Didn't have to modify the arm at all other than shortening it. So as you can see, it's been flinging a ton of grease all over the undercarriage. Boots are ripped pretty good. I've been pretty lazy about fixing this just because I've been just running errands with it and driving it around town. So I got new boots, and the new boots come with the flanges too, so should be a pretty simple swap. That guy. Inner CV joint off. Gonna put the new boot on since the old one is trashed. Grease her up, put it back together. Well, boots on. Yeah, the other one didn't have holes in it. Is it in? Looks like it went right in.
Yeah. Not quite. There it is. All
right, left side axle is back in. And now on to the driver's side, right side. I think Corey and I finished putting the axles in. There's a laundry list of sorts, I guess, of things to go over on this car before we hit the road. That was a main thing. Getting tires on the stock wheels was another main concern. Wheel bearings in the rear seem good, seem tight. They're a sealed bearing in the hub, and so those feel pretty good. So, belts are good. I got a couple oil leaks I want to tidy up before we're driving 3,000 miles cross country. Then we're going to book some flights too. Corey's probably going to go to Seattle with me as well. Originally he was going to fly home, because of work. We're not sure exactly what's going on. By the time this comes out, you'll have sorted out everything, so this isn't live on Instagram. But more than likely, Corey's going to Seattle to meet up with Mike Cashman and Zach DePiero. We're going to meet up with those two guys, and the four of us are going to drive the new car from Seattle back home. Just booked the flight from LAX to Seattle. We haven't gotten to LAX yet, so the 7 Series now has a job to do. So we're booked. We're headed to Seattle. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this vlog. Corey and I have booked our flights to Seattle. Keiron is booking his flight out here from LA. And the next vlog is just going to be continuing getting the E23 prepped for the drive. And possibly more skate park action as well, since it seems every single vlog has some of that involved too. So that's it for now, guys, and next vlog is coming soon.